Living the good fat life with your host Karen and Sherri. They'll help everything align for your body, soul, and mind. The good fat life, whether change comes slow or dramatically. The good fat life will help you sort things out organically.
Every time it makes me laugh. Hey, how are you, Sherri? Happy Thursday.
Good. Can you believe how fast the weeks are going?
I can't even believe it. I'm already like booking stuff for June. How is that even possible? Time and seasons, everything's like so weird, isn't it?
But it's just, my husband and I were like, is today really Thursday? No,
I know.
It feels like Tuesday.
I have no concept of what date is at all. It's a really strange time, right? But it's also exciting time, right?
It's totally. But it's just that reminder how fast time is. It's like this. Yeah. So anyways, but good. But so many, and maybe part of it is just that the air is warmer and it feels like the world's opening it up. I think that's part of it too, is the world feels like it's opening up.
Yep, and flowers are beginning to bloom, right? Like our magazine.
Yeah,
like Good
our
Fat
magazine.
Life is Bloom. This issue is Bloom. And I also think it's just feels like people are being more in the moment, right? So then that sort of stops time, right?
Yeah, that's true.
And one way to be in the moment is just play, right? And so that's why I'm so excited. We have our number one champion returning guest today.
Absolutely. But even just the little things like walking out to get the paper this morning, we take and my husband takes the phone out with our 4-year-old grandson who lives in Texas, and just show him what's happening. And we have this big, beautiful tree that's pink blossoms, and it's like raining. Those. It's like raining pink blossoms.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
And it's just so you say be in the moment. It's like there's so many opportunities to be in the moment. Right.
Plus, it's so much fun to get the mail, like it is for kids. Yeah. And it is. Like I realize it can be such an adventure to get the mail. In fact, when during COVID, when we had the lockdown, my son, that was like his daily event. Mom, the mail is here.
So it's the little things.
Yeah,
right?
It really is. It really is.
It is. So I'm sorry. So yes.
Yeah. So today we have Rachelle Willnus again with us. She's our number one all-time returning champion, 4th-time guest. So
I got a green jacket.
Yeah, we got to
right?
measure you for the green jacket, right? Thank you for joining us again today.
Oh, thank you for having me. It's always a pleasure to be here, and I always love the chatter that we have. This is like girl time, and I love it.
Yeah, it's so much fun, right? Doesn't feel like a job at all, right?
No, it doesn't.
Yeah,
it doesn't at all.
Well, and you've had a really exciting week with Derby Week.
Yes.
So tell us about that.
Well, tell us why. Tell us what you do and why you're part of Derby Week. Yeah.
So.
Well, I like to always keep it fun because you guys are always about the fun. And what I liked the best about Derby Week was not just selling the hats, which was a good bonus for me, but seeing women excited to be out, to shop, to go somewhere, which to me was the most exciting, to have human interaction with clients, to actually try a hat on. That to me was just, I like to share in their excitement about where they're going. So that was really nice.
So was that like local Derby parties?
Yeah, and actually some local, but I also did a good business in Louisville this year.
I thought
Louisville
so too.
and Texas were my biggest sale points this year.
Did you do Zooms or how did that work?
Well, a lot of it is my clients from out of state will send me a photo of their dress or their outfit, and then we'll do a little bit of picture back and forth on what they like, and then I send it to them, or I can do custom. So they always know what they're getting. Yeah. Because they don't know me. I'm out of state, right? But they always know what they're getting, and then they'll refer their friends, and so it's nice.
But can you imagine getting that box? Box in the
It's a box inside of a box. It just opens up.
It's like a Matryoshka doll.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
exactly.
Awesome. Well, tell us a little bit about who you are and what you do, so just so people have a background, because we feel like we know you.
We know, right.
Okay. And maybe most of your fans know, but I'm Rachelle Willnus. I've been a hat designer for, it'll be 12 years in August.
Wow. And that story is so cool too.
Yeah, tell us a little bit about that.
Well, the long and the short of it is I had a working career. I had a technical background, and my girls got into theater, and I thought, wow, you know what? I've got to stay home. And a lot of moms, we think sometimes we have to stay home with the children. It could be the end of the world if you're a career person. Well, I just found another career that I could manage the children and still do something for me. And so I got into costuming. We made hats for Music Man, and I felt like, it was the Holy Grail. It was like, there it was. I saw the beam of light, and this was my calling.
Yeah.
So I was just really excited to do that.
Well, talk to me about what was different about the hats rather than the costumes. Like, what was different about it for you?
I think that the architecture of it appealed to the design side of my previous career. And so when I was creating programs for engineers, there was always a creative aspect to my job. You have to make something out of something else. And when I saw these materials and I could shape them and I was doing the show, I'm like, oh my gosh, this is accessories.
Yeah.
I just fell in love with it. And I don't know. It was like I felt like I had found my true love.
Yeah. Well, you were really great in your previous career, but tell us how you brought that, the one significant thing that you're kind of famous for in your hat designs and why that sort of propelled the hats into the future.
Yes. The one thing that I have with each of my fascinators is they slide on the headband. So, and then you can take it out. You can interchange the color. So you can create a lot of different styles. And I think that having my degree in instructional systems design helped me to style that because I have each client. Like even when we came in here, we're like, okay, which one fits, which one doesn't. So you can create so many different things with one hat, so many different styles, but it's the sliding band, it's the sleeve that I've created that I think has really propelled me to the status.
Well, speaking of so many different styles, do you mind if I go over there and you can kind of work different hats on me and show how you can slide them back and forth?
Well,
and
I
also
keep looking at the.
Okay.
Do you want me to put this on you?
Put that one on you, and then let's see. Yeah. So tell.
Yeah,
The one thing I'll describe for your listeners is a crystal crown. It's just a small clip. And what's nice about this, you can see it here, is it's all designed by me, and it's got 2 combs in the back. And it's got antique jewelry, and then it's got some beading. And then what's nice about this is if you have a low ponytail, you can just put it in the back like that.
That's so
yes.
Or if you're some of my more enthusiastic clients, I like which tend to be more,
That would be me.
All right.
Yeah.
You put it more in the front if you're more like the Bridgerton fan.
Oh, I love that.
Like
Yes. Wow.
Okay, I'm trying not to do the model duck face. It just happens naturally.
Right. But do you see? So for just for the listeners only, that completely changed how Rachelle just looked.
Completely changed,
and how she acted with her body. Actually,
if you take the tip of it, but I think that's part of the fun thing of fashion.
Yeah.
Right? Because you guys are all about the fun.
Right.
It's about taking something and seeing it differently. Like even in your everyday life.
Yeah.
Taking something you're doing and seeing it differently is really,
so much fun. Yeah, show us with this hat too. Just you sliding it and moving
But
it.
talk a little bit because I did not know the term fascinator until Meghan Markle's wedding.
Okay.
And so and I
all interactive on your
and I've talked to people who are very, very knowledgeable about hats, but they've never heard that term too. So talk about the
fascinating.
difference.
Well, one thing for me is I have a very strong love for English hat styles.
Okay.
So for me, I always go to the source, and I get a lot of my material from England, and their styles to me that I love are because you create it and you use the cinema, which you can steam and shape, but you can create an angle and you can find the best spot, on your face. But the term fascinator originated in England. So that's sort of, I follow the English trends. Some people call them whimsies or, things like that. But the fascinator is an English piece.
So talk to us about the cineme. Isn't that like a relative to the banana?
Yeah, the cineme is a organic, made from an organic plant, an abaca plant, which is very similar to a banana plant.
Or a plantain, maybe?
Yes.
Yeah.
So what happens is that, they'll take the material and they weave it and they stiffen it, for hat making. And then I steam it and shape it. So it comes in these big round reams of things. And then I steam it and shape it. Now, some people will say, well, Rachelle, I find like, other cinema online and it's so much cheaper, but it'll disintegrate in, the weather. This is an organic, because you're talking about a rainforest plant.
Right.
So this thing could withstand,
That could ruin your day, couldn't it?
It
Your
could really
look?
it could ruin. It will, as you say, and then sometimes I'll put wire in it if it's a big piece, so that you don't get completely. But it will re-steam and reshape for you because it's an organic, which I like.
I like how it tells a story. I think that's why it's called a fascinator, because just you changing into that hat, I'm already thinking like fall, like like fox
some kind of
hunts,
cool,
like being in the country, but very she.
Fox hunt, right? We could be riding horses.
Oh, there you go.
See, we
Side
created
salad.
our own fun
Right.
now.
Yeah, there
Before
we
you know
go.
it, we're
And,
side
and we
salad.
have the dinner afterwards outside in that beautiful table with the Edison lights
Yes, I would.
over. Fall bounty food.
You guys, one of my favorite movies is Auntie Mame, and do you guys know that
Oh,
movie?
yeah.
Where she
Yeah.
rides side saddle at the
I
end, and she says,
love
"Oh, I can't
that.
go on the hunt. I ride side saddle." And they're
Oh,
like,
I
"Oh,
love
it's
that.
okay," and then she
Looks
does
fabulous.
it. Yeah,
I love that.
yeah,
I
that's a
love
great movie.
that.
Talk about fun, right?
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
So let's talk about some of the the events
Yeah.
that are in your world.
Well,
It just
everyone
sounds
always
so much
asks.
fun.
Thank you for asking about that. And one of the things people ask is, where do you wear these fascinators besides Derby? People ask me that all the time. And there's things coming up like polo. I have a lot of people that go to teas at the Town's End. I have all kinds of events that come up, and so people ask me for First Holy Communion crowns, birthday parties, bridal. Halloween costumes. I mean, the list is really proms.
Yeah.
I mean, the list is so endless because I do like these crystal crowns, and I do. I work with like leathers and faux leathers, and to create New Year's Eve pieces.
Oh my gosh.
And furs sometimes, right? You made
Yes.
those really cool, like,
Yes.
for lack of a better term, Cousin Eddie hats, but they were very
Yes,
like.
I'll do like faux
European.
furs, and I get inspired by other people, which I think is great about you guys because you guys inspire me, and you always bring out the best in people through your magazine and through what you do. And so I think that's why we connect, because I love to be inspired by other people too, and what they create, I let my creations kind of fall from that too. So.
Well, this is so funny, Sherri, because I know. Thank you for those compliments. Lovely compliments. Yeah,
It's true.
Yeah.
I feel like it's like girl talking. Like,
Yeah.
hey,
So today Rachelle was she parked in the back, so we were on the phone and saying, "Come around." And so I was talking to her, and I was outside, and the postman came by. He goes, "There's someone dressed just like you around the corner. I think she's trying to look for you." And I thought, "Oh, that's my person."
Yes,
right?
thank God I
How
had
did
the
we know
hat
you're
on.
together?
It's like an identifier.
Yeah, we actually have the same colors on and everything. Yeah, so much.
We
fun.
didn't match. We didn't coordinate. It's
Yeah.
That is adorable,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
So
We're so lucky.
Yeah. So tell us about the Schitt's Creek event. I
Oh my gosh.
love that
Oh,
show.
yes. Well, I have a friend who's having a party, and it's a Schitt's Creek party. And
So what's a Schitt's Creek?
well,
Yeah.
okay, I guess that would
gotta
fall in
t-
line
yeah,
with the other things I do with
Right.
hats is I do theme parties and any kind of cocktail or theme party. And some people will say, well, I'd like to do a theme. And one client said, I'd like to do a Schitt's Creek party.
Tell us
And-
about Schitt's Creek for people
Okay,
that know.
Schitt's Creek is a story about this, wealthy family that came on hard times, and then as a joke, they had bought this place called Schitt's Creek. And I'm sure I'm butchering the story, but the long and the short of it, they're stuck in this place.
In the little rundown
in this
motel.
little rundown place, but they still have, their style,
and they have each
their
other.
high fashion
Yeah.
style. And Moira is one of the characters, and she's always in like black and white and all this like crazy, kind of stuff.
Feathers.
Yeah.
And,
All
leather.
kinds
Wigs
of
on
black
top
and
of
white,
wigs, yeah.
and so yes, so
Wears
everybody's
brooches on
gonna-
her pajamas. That's
Yes,
my favorite.
exactly.
Yeah.
So everybody's gonna kind of dress up as a character, and then
Yeah.
we have lunch and things like that.
Yeah,
But,
she uses words like apoplectic and things like
Yes.
no one's ever hears before.
Yes, and gets the couture dresses on sale for like 10,000, but they
Yeah.
were like 100,000. But
Right.
it's a sale; I had to get it,
Yeah.
know. But so people will dress up as like that, and then I'll make like different things. I'll trim their coats. I'll put like fur on things. So I
fun.
still take that costuming aspect, not just to the hats, but I'll help with other parts of their outfit as well. So that's
Oh, I
Sure,
love
we
it.
got to do that.
I was just thinking, we got to plan some parties.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we sure do.
Yeah, some
So-
events, Rachelle, so that we get some events going in the magazine and on the calendar for fun girl time.
Well, you know what's fun for girl time, it is just, I don't know about the rest of your audience, but I always love to play dress up. And if you're someone that's just like, you want to take a break from your everyday life, just, even have a little luncheon and dress up, have a princess party. It doesn't matter how old you are. I mean, I did have a client who had a princess party that was a little older, and we had a great time. Yeah. So, I mean, you can do those types of things. You don't even need to have a reason.
Yeah. I have a great story about princess. One of my very dear friends, this was a couple years ago, and her daughter was 6, and they went to Walt Disney World, right? Yeah. And you get your picture with the princess. And my girlfriend, she's like, no, she's not getting the picture. I'm getting the picture.
Exactly.
She's got lots of years.
That's
and so I have a picture of my girlfriend with Cinderella on my refrigerator, and it's just priceless, right? But it's just that magic.
Yes.
And I can't help, every time I look at it, I can't help but smile because you know that feeling.
Yeah.
Yes. And that's what we should do to celebrate that, especially now with COVID kind of, trending, where people are getting out more socially. I think it's fun to, to do those things. Yeah. I mean, just this time with you guys, I feel like, oh my gosh, it's long lost family. I haven't seen it so long.
Well, speaking of family, I took my daughter to Disney World, and we took her to the Bibbidi Bobbidi boutique, and she had her own fairy godmother, and they dressed her up like a princess, and they glittered her, and they did her hair and put her in her dress and everything, and pictures, and she was in a princess parade. And I said, I want to be in it too. And they're like, ma'am, the cutoff is 14. And I'm like, I'm going to the Bibbidi Bobbidi bar. I'm upset. Yeah, I was so upset. But anyway, it was beautiful for her.
Karen, let's do it. Yeah. Let's do a Bibbidi Bobbidi Boo bar.
I like it.
And the bar can be adult beverage bar.
I like that. Yeah.
That's right. Yeah. I'll do makeup and hair for everybody.
There you go. But well, you have to come too.
Yeah. So. I'm all about that. Yeah, I love a good thing too. And it's so much fun, right? That's important. Like you get lost in yourself and just escape, right?
You've got to really get lost in yourself and escape, because that's what life is about. It's about having fun.
And that play. So I have to tell you a success that I've had.
Okay.
So I met with my nutritionist, I want to say a year ago, and she was like, you need to get at least 9 servings of fruits and vegetables into your diet, right? And I'm like, that'll never happen.
You're like, per day?
Yeah.
Right. That's what I wanted to say. Like, annual, monthly.
No, daily. And she goes, I know it's a lot, but that's what your body needs. And I was like, okay, great. Right. And so it's been a start, stop. Never got to the 9, but kind of moving closer. And I will tell you, there's been so many ups and downs. Well, this week I got to 9.
Wow.
3 days in a row.
That.
And the way that it happened, what I realized is we're looking at play for our next, the way it happened is I made it fun. How can I get?
How are fruits and vegetables fun?
Yeah,
I need to know.
Right? Yes, but just little things. And when like Angela, more when we talked with her, she was like, about chopping. Yeah. Because vegetables, you're chopping a lot.
Oh yeah.
Right. So some of it, I just said, I'm just buying them. I'm buying them already chopped.
Right.
And then it was like, I should just get some really good knives and keep them sharp. Yeah. And a sharp knife becomes fun. Yeah. Right.
Yes.
My daughter-in-law is a vegetarian, and so she's provided some really fun things. And so I found that by making it playful, it's gone from a chore, something I have to do, to, oh, good, how are we going to do this today? Right? It's made all the difference. Now, and then I've had one of my friends said, so how do you feel? And I'm like, well, it's been like 3 days. So,
exactly.
Right? And
you mean emotionally?
Yeah. Emotionally, I feel like at the top of the rooftop going, yes. Did I climb to the mountain?
Good for you.
It is hard.
Right.
Yeah.
So, but we'll see. And then another friend said, make soup. Vegetable soup. And I was like, you are brilliant.
Yeah.
Because how easy is it to eat a bowl of soup?
Just put it all in there.
Just put it all in there, and you can get 2 servings, 3 servings in one bowl of soup.
Yeah.
If it's a hearty, chunky chunky. So
Yeah.
so
Good for you.
that play, no, and I was thinking we've been, Karen and I have been, every time everybody we talk to now as play is like, well, what do you do to play? And it's really so.
What do you do to
Rachelle,
play?
what do you do to play?
Oh,
I know
gosh,
your work, you play a lot, but what do you do in your personal life?
But it can be your work
Yeah.
too. Is
Well,
what
I would have to say I'm like you. This is kind of like my growth here. Where first I started to have to walk. Where you were doing the vegetables, I'm like, my doctor's like, you should walk more. Well, who wants to do that?
Right.
But now that's sort of my playtime, where I use that time that would have been a torturous thing, is now I use it to clear my mind, and I take time to look at things, because when we're so busy,
right?
it allows me that time to like look around. So to play, I mean, I feel like, with my girls, I like to shop, just even taking time for myself, I have to be honest, is like playtime, or being able to rest.
No,
or like a lot of times playing with my clients, like planning these parties. That to me is the fun. I love to dress people up. That's what I like to do. So I think as COVID opens up, I'll be able to be more exciting in telling you that. But, I like to go to movies. I love good theater.
The theater. I just read the theater's opening on September 14th in New York City.
Concerts,
and they're going to be 100% capacity.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah. So it's opening up. But to your point, and that's been a real eye-opening thing to me as I've been going through this. And there's a ton of research done around play. So I'm just starting to pull those materials in to get a better understanding of it. But it's so much of it's the way it's our perception.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
Right? And that's what I discovered too, is that a lot of my work is really play. When I stop and think about it, I get so excited about a new project or seeing somebody's vision unfold, or whatever, whatever that looks like.
This is playtime.
It's totally
For me, I love
playtime.
it.
So
Right.
and with the magazine, that's why we're so fortunate, because doing the covers and stuff.
And show
is the
that.
play
Yeah.
thing. Yeah.
Karen will never brag about herself, but I'll have to tell you, when you guys do such a great job on this.
Oh, thank you.
And the
And our
attention
photographer,
to
of course.
detail,
Yes.
but that you style it
Isn't that a gorgeous
in such a
yeah.
way. I mean, this is just a beautiful, this to me is like dreamy.
Oh, thank you. Well, I haven't had much
love
help.
that.
Yeah.
I mean, it's so beautiful. Articles, the advice. And I always love how you guys like bullet point things.
Oh, thank you.
I love that.
Thank you.
This,
Oh,
It's a good
thank you
thing.
so
Thank
much.
I love it.
Yeah. And it's so much fun because we're so lucky we have so many beautiful people in our lives like you that teach us the beauty and how to play. And so, I mean,
Well,
it
right,
feels like-
because
it doesn't feel like work.
because of wanting to move forward with Good Fat Life. That's how we met you, right?
Yeah.
I love that.
And
Thank
one
you.
thing leads to the next thing. It's just and that's play.
Yeah.
That is
Yeah.
play.
And when you keep showing up and being in the moment, you realize that everybody that you've met is a miracle, and you get to
true.
know them, and you're like, hey, how can I lift you up? How can we lift each other up? And if you don't take that moment and play and like be with people like that, you don't realize that. So that's why it's so great to have you. And we always know we
thank
can
you.
rely on, we always think of you like, how can we lift up Rachelle? Because we support you and
you.
love you, and you always support us. And
I
that's,
love you guys.
Yeah.
I feel like
Yeah,
it's like
yeah,
instant
love
chemistry.
fest.
Yeah.
It's like, this is
Yeah.
our playtime. I have to, oh yes, we are on.
Yeah, yeah,
I have
yeah.
to keep remember that we're on.
Yeah, right.
Right. So I guess, I'm as people are listening, I would challenge, and we are going to do a play challenge. I had a conversation yesterday about that with one of my colleagues that's going through that now. And so her first day, she's been challenged to play for 30 days. And what does that look like? And one of the things that was really interesting about that is, so her first day was she did a pedicure and did her toes all different colors. And that was her first day. That's why she was just watching
Right.
TV. And she had a ball with it. But she said, but that's not going to be every day. So every day it's going to be a different something. And some things may repeat, who knows?
Yeah.
But it's the joy of discovery.
Right.
And I thought, how cool is that?
Right.
So
I'm already thinking like it would just be fun. Just in every situation, go, how can I make this playful?
how can
Yeah.
I? Yeah, exactly. That mindset.
Yeah.
It's like, and what can I do? And what can I build in every day that is play?
Right. And to remind yourself, it's supposed to be fun, right?
Yes.
I hear that all the time, like, because I get stuck in the rules and the details, and people say, and it's supposed to be fun. You're like, oh, okay, now I can read. Like, okay, I got to remember this, and then I got to, and then it's supposed to be fun. But really, it's supposed to be fun first, then the details stick because you're in the moment, right? If you come in that way. I also hear a lot, stop goofing off, but because I do like to play a lot, I'm constantly doing that. But I have to remind myself that it is supposed to be fun, and you are supposed to be in the moment, and look for those playful moments, right?
Yeah, and it's the celebration of it too. Like I try to stop myself during the day and say, did I celebrate myself today in some way?
Oh, I love that.
I mean, that sounds like, I mean, because I think I'm going, but then I'm thinking, well, life shouldn't always be a job. You know, you're here to actually live.
Turns out,
You know, and what part, so I'm pausing and going, okay, I'm living. What am I doing to celebrate myself today? Even it's for a half an hour or whatever, but I try to take at least an hour where I'm celebrating something about myself.
I love that.
You know, whether it's something emotionally I've, gotten over, something physically, or something I've just created and I've loved. And sometimes we do things and we take advantage, or take for granted that we did that. You know, now I pause and say, okay, I didn't just make that. Oh, wow, look at the angle. I take time to celebrate the things privately for myself because, I don't want to go, oh, wow, look. But when you're by yourself, you can take that time to celebrate who you are, what you've done.
Oh,
like your
lovely.
like the fact that you're up to 9 vegetables and fruits. I'm thinking over here, man, I wish I could do that. I mean, that's a celebration.
It only took a year.
but
you did it.
But
you
see,
did it.
And the cool thing about that and why I'm so excited is it's habits, right? I had a whole lifetime of habits to unpack and just kind of work through and those things. And you're right, we don't celebrate. It's just like on to the next thing, on to the next thing, on to the next thing. Or,
like I came in, I saw Karen and I were dressed like, I'm like, oh my God.
We're
like little twins.
But,
I mean, that was a small celebration where I just took that in of like, look at how cute she looks. And, oh, we're cute together. And I felt like a little girl in that. To me is like, well, now you do it the little piece. We put the pink in your rosette.
There you go.
So it's just those little things where you just take in even just the beauty of your friends or the moments. That is a celebration.
Well, then also just that the postman noticed it and like
that's
like,
hysterical.
Right. Like, you mean that girl circling the area with that? I think she's with you.
How funny is that, right? They could probably get that a lot.
Yes. So like, thank God I had the fast on. I probably would have been down like Brighton or
right. Which also goes to you don't realize like if you are having fun and sort of like maybe not an outlier, but a person that's showing that people are going to notice you and that might change their day. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, and that was one of the things that came out of COVID. It's because we were so isolated.
Yes.
There was a lot of studies that, have shown that we as human beings have those little contacts all day long, right? You go through a door, you hold the door open for somebody, or you get on an elevator, there's other people. You're at the grocery store, you're in line, right?
Exactly.
And with COVID, we lost all of that. And so those little moments were the opportunity for us to connect as human beings. And they could be little celebrations, kind of what you were saying is like every person comes into our life every day is a little miracle and for a little reason. And so it's become kind of like one of those things, a game to say, how can I shower kindness on this person that's holding the door open for me or whatever that is, or the mailman who notices me, and then make that fun and joyful. And it puts you in the moment and it makes that, we've talked about creating those little tiny moments all day long that make you smile.
Yes.
And that's kind of how you do it.
Yeah. And the giving and receiving, right? Because what you give, you got giving and receiving is the same. And so the more you give, the more you receive. It's constantly. And if you think of it that way, it really changes your life. It's a really beautiful way to live. It's hard to stay in that all the time, and especially pre-COVID, people are like, oh, I hate standing in line. But now it's like, oh, oh my gosh, I could touch somebody, you know? That's how I feel that way, yeah.
It's a conscious choice.
Yeah.
You know, it's a conscious choice, you know, when you wake up to say, you know, you can make a choice. You can, you know, have choose to have a bad day that day, or you could choose to say, I'm not feeling my best today, but I'm going to try my best all day to choose to do something fun, or to choose to give someone a smile, or open a door, or shed kindness. And you choose that, it almost seems like it uplifts the rest of your day.
Right. It totally does.
And other people.
Yeah.
Yes,
and
exactly.
other people.
And then it brightens their day, and before you know it, it's this chain reaction of fun.
Of fun, right? And but when you said giving and receiving, it's we're kind of taught to give, and not receive, and the receiving is just as important.
It is.
It's
100%.
and so
It's so true.
And so that's been something. You know, I know I've been much more intentional in the last couple years is stopping to receive, right? Just stopping and saying, instead of, oh, or whatever. And even when you were saying celebrate, you know, those little moments yourself, that's a form of receiving.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
And so
exactly.
how
Because that comes
important,
from-
yeah,
Right?
That's right.
how important
That's right.
that is. And it's just interesting. It's just fascinating.
Yeah.
Right?
What I find fascinating is people who are creative, and you know, we all are spiritual people here, and spirituality means different things to all three of us and to other people. But when you're really chosen to make that design. That's only going to come from you, and that is a gift from beyond, right?
You
That's
know,
like an
I do
honor.
feel that,
Yeah.
you know, because I'll tell people, well, I feel like it's a craft that chose me. I don't feel like I can't not do it. You know, I feel like for people are say, well, where do you come up with your designs? I go, I don't know. For as
Divinely
many as I
inspired.
make, there's 200 in the queue waiting to be made. It's like they just never stop.
Yeah.
You know, I just, I mean,
Yeah.
once you click into that, it's very moving.
Yeah. That's how it is with me.
I'm going to
like-
get emotional on your show.
Yeah,
here.
no, that's
But-
okay.
yeah.
But you know, when you have something that chooses you as a
Yeah.
craft, and you see how it makes other people happy, you can't help but think that there's not something in the universe going,
Of course.
okay, now you're ready for your purpose. And that to me is, I mean, it leads me to great people like you ladies and the fun that we have here.
And we're so grateful for it, you know. That's how,
Thank you.
for me too, the things that I create, it's just like people say, well, I want to do this, I want to do this, and what are we going to do? I'm like, it'll come to me. And I don't even worry about it. It does. It always does. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And that's kind of like trusting.
Yeah.
You're trusting.
Exactly. Trusting.
And, you know, I see, I work with students a lot, and I see them get all stressed out about, you know, and you have young girls and your children, and it's like, what am I going to do? What am I going to do? And it doesn't, my experience has been when you let go and just step into the opportunity that's right in front of you and do your best, that next thing's going to come. And you
Yes.
don't know, 40 years later, you might be pulling from that one thing that you did for a while there, but it's all cumulative.
And you're planting a seed, right? And you never know. Like I just think about all the people I've met through the magazine and with Sherri and how we've met and how we met. Every single person you meet, you might have an opportunity. And even our cover girl, right? You went to where she grew up in the Golden Temple many, many years before you met her. And then you met her, and that was like,
Oh my gosh.
we were both in the same place, both like same experience. It's so beautiful, right? And we don't realize
Isn't that cool?
Yeah.
Yeah, that was mind-boggling. But you just, to the point, you just don't know how an experience is going to come back, and you get to build on it. And so
That's why you have to show
so
up.
right. Well, and then to Karen's
Show
point,
up.
to show up,
Right.
and that's what we hear all the time: to show up and just take that next step,
Yeah.
and trust that
Yes.
that you're going to get what you need in that step. You know, it's like
that's
Tut
so-
says that. Don't worry about the cursed house.
Yeah. Right.
Exactly.
Or the
Don't
vibes.
worry about the cursed house. Just show up.
Yep.
You know, and that's to me showing up and not worrying about how to do it is half the battle. Because once you just show up, the hows and everything come.
They do.
Yeah.
If you're open.
Yeah.
You got to
Yes.
show
Yeah.
up openly.
You have to show,
Yeah,
and
and
show
know that
up,
you
but
are
don't
not.
just, don't just stand there
Yeah.
and show up.
Yeah.
Show up.
Yeah. 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 And know that you're not in control, and it's okay. And be okay
Right.
that you're not attached to the outcome. Just show up. Yeah, that was hard for me. I always wanted to control everything and be attached to the outcome. But I'm like, I'm curious about what the outcome is. I have no idea, But I also realized every day you're planting the seed. So if you're planting a seed of like negativity or insecurity or whatever negative stuff, that's the same seed that will reap down the line. So if you're planting the seed of being open and showing up, and that's what will come back to you. So really, in every moment, right? It's intentional. Every moment you got to plant that seed.
Don't be afraid some days when you can't handle it.
Yeah.
You're going to have days, no matter how much you try to show up, no matter how much you try to do, you're going to have days where you're like, it's just not happening today.
Yeah.
I
It's
just
not
need to
happening
stare
this-
at the wall today.
I
Yeah.
just need to stare at the
Yeah.
wall. It's not going to happen. You have to allow those moments
Right.
too, and not think that you're failing.
Yeah.
Because we do that. Oh, I didn't do this you know what? I disappointed myself. I didn't do my goal. You can't think like that.
I only ate 6 vegetables
Yeah.
today, right?
Yeah.
Exactly.
I wish I
But
only
you
ate-
ate
Yeah.
six
Yeah.
vegetables.
Yeah, that's my goal.
Right, yeah. See, there's somebody going, gosh,
I
I
wanna
wish
be
I
Sherri's
did that.
loser day.
Yeah. We all want to be Sherri's.
Yeah.
But that's when you can really, is take it all in.
Yeah.
And then just
Right.
grow from it.
Yeah. Well, if you equate it back to the seed and the growing analogy,
Yeah.
farmers are paid not to grow sometimes, right? Yeah. So you got to take a break and
Right.
cultivate the land and give the land, so it's the same kind of thing. So yeah.
Well,
Exactly.
Well, and I remember having a conversation. I was walking with one of my girlfriends, and I was lamenting. I'm like, I don't know, I'm trying, it's not working.
Yeah. Yeah.
And fortunately, I mean, we all have friends where you can just kind of puke on them, and
Right, exactly.
and because you need to process, and they don't see it as negative critical stuff. It's just like, okay, go through that
you just
process.
they hold a bucket
They
for
hold
you.
exactly, and
Exactly.
then take it away, and it's like, okay, how are we going to move forward? And she's the one who said, make soup.
Yeah. Right.
And I was just like, and I was saying, it's like, my vegetables are rotting,
I like
I'm
soup.
wasting food, and blah, blah, blah. And she goes, well, just make soup. And I was
That's funny.
like,
I know.
I mean, I literally stopped. I'm
Yeah.
like, oh.
Yeah. I know. It's from a different perspective.
It's like an
right?
aha moment, though.
Yeah.
But you're like, this just made my day.
Yeah.
Make vegetables
Yeah.
day. Thank you.
Exactly. But to your point, it's like, we're not going to be like, yeah, rah, rah, every
No,
second.
you're not.
It's just
No.
like, I'm failing miserably, and I don't know what to do, and I
Yeah.
need to puke on you, and
Yes.
and then you go, oh,
Right. Then
Yeah.
you regroup, and now you're making soup.
yeah, exactly.
That's right.
So,
Yeah.
but I mean, think of how we do those things all day long,
It's true.
right? And so it's just that reminder of how important it is to kind of be vulnerable and to surround yourself with people
Oh,
that
yeah. Vulnerable. Look at
That's
us.
a
We're
big-
like, you're like, oh, yeah.
That's a big one.
It
That's
is.
a real big one.
Vulnerable-
That's super important.
Yeah, because I think a lot of us too, especially as we get older, people have different experiences. You're guarded at certain times. It's just knowing when to trust, to be vulnerable with the right people, being smart about those things. But yeah, that's a huge, huge reward. You can do that.
yeah. So, and you just don't know, and you don't know, and that's when we're in that space. It's like there's an opportunity for magic, and there just is. And sometimes it'll come in that moment, and sometimes it won't. It doesn't really matter. It's just, but it will come.
Yeah, and plus you get to see yourself in other people's eyes, right? Because you have a certain view of yourself, right? And sometimes it's skewed, but then when people go, I'm not worried about make soup, and you're like, you know what I mean? Like, so it's like, of course, you know what I mean? But you get so stuck in your stuff, you can't even see through, you know
I feel
what
like
I
you
mean?
can use that for so
Yeah.
many things. Make
Right.
soup. I'm
Make
thinking,
soup.
I
Yeah.
could do that with this.
Make
and
soup.
that.
Yeah.
But it's a great analogy even for life.
Yeah, for sure.
Make the soup.
Yeah.
On so many different levels. It's so much meaning now.
Right. Life is
Good
soup.
fat life.
Yeah.
It does.
the soup.
Well, and we have an amazing soup recipe from your daughter.
Yes,
From
we
Savannah.
did. We had it,
Yeah,
Yes.
soup. And
Oh,
so
we're-
I'm so
yes.
excited about the tomato
you.
season coming.
Yes.
Yum.
Yeah, she has a gift with spices. She's really,
Yes.
she has that calling with spices and cooking like I do with hats.
Oh, that's
And-
I mean, she's
beautiful.
been cooking since she was
Yeah.
little, and I've just always let her do it because, I'm that creative person. I'm not like, okay, don't touch this. I'm like, hey,
Yeah.
Go at it. You can always
in
be
the
cleaned.
kitchen.
You can always be picked up. Just have fun.
Isn't that lovely when you recognize your children's gifts and you're just like, wow.
Especially if they're doing something so young.
Yep.
And they just are doing it
It's
without
in them.
being taught. You just have to, that's something driving them.
That's a creation.
That's a creation,
Yeah.
Oh
my daughter, she likes to go to the Salvation Army thrift stores and find the ugliest thing she can find and style something super cool around that. I'm like, I don't understand your process. She goes, Mom, I like to find the grossest thing I can. And she always makes it look amazing. And she's like, I can't explain it. It's amazing every time she does it.
It
Yeah.
is. And it is. And that is what I'm coming to is the essence of play.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
And it's going to be different for everybody.
Yeah.
But that's play.
Right. And like half the stuff she's wearing, some designer was fired somewhere, but she's made it. She's made it.
Only would have known her.
Yeah,
They would
she's
have
made
only
it a
known her.
positive. She's made it a positive. So that goes to show you, like, one of your disasters ends up being somebody's light in their life and their creation. So, like, even if you couldn't figure out how to make soup, like, things that you think are negative end up being a positive for somebody else, right?
For somebody else.
Yeah,
that.
it all comes back to good, right?
Yeah, it does. Oh, ladies. So we always say, what's one thing that you would say to people? So somebody wants to up their wardrobe.
Up their wardrobe.
Wardrobe.
I would say, what I like to do when I do that
I don't know. Is that a go okay question?
Yeah.
Is
Yeah.
that-
I would say a lot of stuff that you already will have, or that you like. If I shop, sometimes I'll buy multiple things of the same thing. I'm like, why did I do that? If you're thinking of you want to accessorize, just take all your accessories, lay them out on your bed, and just look at everything, and then just take out what you just know you're not going to use, and then if there's something you really like, take that, put it aside, and go find a shirt that you like.
Yeah.
What you have's already there. Just lay out your accessories. Look at what you have already, and then pull that together and style it, and then buy new pieces. Don't go out right away and buy something new. Take a look at your closet inventory. That should be the first thing.
I have two things to say that. First of all, I think that's really important. And also you taught us to whatever you pick, like when we were making our hat, remember, where that was so much fun. The colors, what speaks to you, and you're not going to be wrong, right? So
That's
what
right.
spoke to me and what spoke to Sherri was completely different, but we were able to make a beautiful hat. Like your hat and your gut is not, your color, your eye and your gut is not going to steer you
It's
wrong.
like, one time I heard a model say that, how do you do the runway? Well, I trust my feet. So what you have to do is when you're looking at something, the eye does not lie. Ooh, I made a rhyme. The eye does not lie. So if you look at something, like when you look at this, your eye won't tell you, oh, that's beautiful. If it's not, the eye will tell you, I like that color together. And I find that every time. And when you two created, I'm like, see? The eye, you have to trust what you already have naturally.
Right. And for me, like people say, what are you going to wear to an event? And I'm saying, I'm not going to describe it to you because you won't get it, but you'll get it when you see it. Right. Yeah.
Trust it is. It's. I feel like a lot of what we're talking today is just even trusting yourself.
Absolutely.
Right.
If you want to experiment with something and you're like, oh, and I think Midwestern women especially tend to be a little reserved when it comes to that. But if you're feeling a color, like if you say, Sherri, Rachelle, I'm really feeling teal, but it's not my color, I say go for it. And if you're nervous, start small, like do a teal necklace. Pair it with a cute blouse. Pull color.
That's a cool idea.
Just pull a color you're nervous about, but you're not sure. Pull it in with accessories. Accessories are, to me, the best, and not just because I'm a hat designer, but I think accessories, like for anything, pull in a color you're thinking about, and then build from there. But go bold. A lot of clients will tell me, I love orange. Oh, but I can't wear it. I'm like, just pull it in, put a small clip in, or get a necklace, or get a bracelet. Yeah. Celebrate that, right? Look at that bling.
So this was a total one of those things. Yes. It's my husband wanted to buy me a bracelet.
I love
that. And I saw this, and it's not anything that I would have ever picked. But the next thing I knew, I'm like, I'm just going to.
But look at how, and it's probably a favorite piece and it makes you happy. Look at how you light it up when you see that.
Yeah. And so anyways, but to your point, it's like every time I look at it, it's like, Oh,
Yeah.
that's
And
nice.
I like it too because I'm like, oh, that's a nice surprise.
And
I'm
it
so
pulls
glad
so
she
many
has that.
colors from
Yeah.
even what you're wearing.
Yeah.
Have you guys
start
seen,
with that? Accessories are the best way to
Yeah.
go.
Yeah. Have you guys seen that movie LA Story with Steve Martin?
Yeah.
He had his girlfriend.
Yeah.
She said, get ready in the morning, put 3 accessories on, and then look in the mirror. The first thing you see, take it off, and then leave.
right. Exactly.
So I think another thing is important to say before we head off is that the only rule is there are no rules, right?
That's right.
Yeah.
Let your
play,
own
right?
style do it, because if you try to dress the way you think you should or do the things you think you should, at the end of the day, you're not going to be happy. Because think if you didn't get that bracelet, because you're like, well, I don't know, it might be too much.
Yeah.
Now look at you. You're like,
I
oh, look at
know.
my bracelet.
That makes me happy that you got
So
that
start-
so much. I can't even tell
So
you.
start with accessories. Look
Yeah.
at your wardrobe
Isn't that-
and have
Yeah.
fun with it.
Yeah.
It's those little things,
Yeah.
right?
Little
And
things.
the other part of it that I just have to say is he after 34 years together, he was just beaming
Aw.
because it was like so different than what I got. He goes, I never would have picked that, and I just love that you picked that, right?
Right.
Yeah.
So it was, and that was just a kind of a joyful moment as well.
Yeah.
And
And I noticed you're using that hand a lot more.
Yes. And here I am.
Yeah.
Well, I got my nails polished too. So anyways,
I love that.
oh,
Yeah.
what a gift to have you here with us again.
Well, it's always so fun to be here. I mean, you guys are great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We look forward to seeing you at the polo match on June
Yeah.
12th.
Yes.
Harlan
Oh,
Polo.
June 12th.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what, June 12th?
Yes,
Oh,
June 12th.
I'm so excited
yeah,
for
we'll
that.
be there with our hats on, and Good Fat Life
Yes.
is presenting a basket to, I think, the best dress or the best hat. So we're excited about
And
that.
I should be able to have a fascinator and a man's hat.
Awesome.
I'm working on that.
So that,
Oh,
yeah.
cool.
I'm working
yeah.
on that for you guys.
Thank you.
Oh,
Yeah, so
cool.
that'll be
That's
part
cool.
of the,
Yeah.
So if you hear that and you're going to the polo match, get your best hat. You might win a great prize from
Yeah.
Rachelle
Oh,
and Good Fat
yeah.
Life, right?
That's right.
Exactly. And so just as a reminder, Good Fat Life, if you want to get a magazine, go to goodfatlife.com and you can get a subscription where the hard copies delivered right to your door.
Yes. And click on the QR code.
On the QR
it.
code,
to get
yep.
a digital just
Quality.
subscription.
Yeah.
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 And Rachelle, where can people find you?
Oh, I'm so ensconced by the night. You can find me. I'm on Instagram at Derby Hats by Rachelle. I'm on Facebook, Derby Hats by Rachelle, and you can send me an email, derbyhatsbyrachelle@gmail.com.
Well, thank you so much
Yeah.
for being here. And now that we're all suited up, we have our hats on, let's go live our good fat life.
Yes.
That's
So,
right.
yeah, again. So, yes, until then.
Yeah, till then.